Hi everyone, my name is Zoe Winward-Doffenbach, and today I'm going to walk you through my infographic about marine aquatic systems and how humans impact them for my biology final. I chose this topic because oceans cover most of our planet, and even though most of us don't see the ocean every day, it affects every single one of us more than what we realize. A lot of my information came from our assigned textbook in Chapter 7, Concept 7.3. My first topic was water covers most of the planet. About 71% of the Earth is covered in water, mostly oceans. Chapter 7 in our textbooks really talked about this. The ocean holds almost all of our planet's water, meaning that the oceans help move water around the world through evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. Even if you live far from the coast, the ocean still influences your weather, the water you drink, and even our climate. There are different types of aquatic systems. There's saltwater zones. This would be your oceans, seas, and bays. And then there's freshwater zones, which would be your lakes, rivers, and streams. Where different organisms live depend on things like temperature, sunlight, and nutrients, and these conditions change a lot from place to place. The second part of my infographic was titled Oceans Provide Vital Ecosystem Services. So it shares how and what the ecosystem services are that we get from the oceans. There are natural benefits we receive that help life on Earth function. Ocean gives us oxygen, which is a huge amount comes from the marine algae and phytoplankton. Clean water, climate stability, nutrient recycling, and also carbon absorption. Coastal ecosystems like mangroves and coral reefs also protect us from storms, reduce erosion, and serve as homes for millions of species. This is another topic that our textbook and partnering assignments also talked about. They act like shields that help keep coastal communities safe. This brings me to my next point on my infographic, which was oceans provide economic services. So oceans don't just help the environment, they also support our economy too. They provide food such as fish, shellfish, and seaweed. The ocean provides energy from waves, tides, and winds. It also provides minerals. There's resources that are in medicines from the ocean. Shipping routes and recreation and tourism are also a big thing that the ocean provides. Millions of people rely on fishing, tourism, and ocean-related jobs. When marine ecosystems stay healthy, local communities stay healthy too. This was something that Professor Rock would consistently talk about, which also fit into the theme of this class, which was stability. The next thing I talked about was the different ocean zones, so this was my fourth section. This was probably my favorite section to learn about because I found it fascinating. I'm not going to lie though, after learning about the different zones and seeing pictures, it kind of gave me the creeps. My infographic talks about the coastal zone and the open sea, and these areas are super different but also equally important. The coastal zone is the part along the edge of continents where it's warm, well lit, and full of life. This is where we will find our coral reefs, our seagrass beds, mangroves, and a lot of fish and shellfish. And then coastal ecosystems are basically like the nurseries of the ocean. Then we move into the open sea, which technically has 5 layers. However, we mainly only hear of 3, which I'm going to try to pronounce these the best I can, but it includes the Aquatic zone, which is the top layer where the photosynthesis happens. This is where lots of fish, plankton, and larger animals live because it's the brightest and the warmest. The second one that's talked about a lot is the bathyal zone, which is the midnight zone. There's less light, colder temperatures, and less organisms, but life still exists there. And then the last one that I hear about a lot is the abyssal zone, which is the dark, cold, and high-pressured area. Even in the extreme environment, life survives by eating what is called marine snow, which is interesting because before this class I had never heard of that term, which is basically dead organic material falling from above. An interesting fact I learned is that the OceanGate Titanic Explorer imploded in the bathyal zone. Each layer has different conditions with varying light, temperature, and pressure, and that makes the ocean one of the most diverse habitats in the world, which is why I have always thought it was interesting. In the 5th section, I talked about how humans are unfortunately putting a lot of pressure on oceans. Some of the biggest impacts from humans include pollution such as plastics, chemicals, sewage, oil spills, and more. There's also overfishing, climate change, warming waters, ocean acidification, and habitat destruction, especially in coral reefs and mangroves and wetlands. These changes threaten marine species and the people who depend on them. If we don't take action, we will risk losing these ecosystems, our food sources, and our economic security. But the good news is that humans can be a part of the solution by participating in conservation, reducing pollution the best they can, being sustainable when fishing, and protecting habitats. My final section talked about coral reefs. Coral reefs were one of the biggest reasons why I actually wanted to become a marine biologist before my health got bad. Through this section, I found it neat that they're called the jewel of the ocean because I had never heard of that. I included this section because coral reefs are one of the most valuable and at-risk ecosystems. As we know, coral reefs are bright and colorful. They're packed with marine life. They're important for fishing. It's a huge draw for tourism, and then their natural barriers protect coastlines from the storms. But right now, coral reefs are in trouble. Pollution, warming waters, and ocean acidification are leading to something called coral bleaching, where corals lose their color and often die. Since reefs support a bunch of marine life, losing them would have massive consequences. Protecting coral reefs is important for the ocean and also for the communities and economies that depend on them. So why does this matter? To wrap up my infographic, it's really about understanding how connected we are to the ocean. Even though it feels far away sometimes, especially with living in the middle of Iowa, the ocean plays a huge role in our daily lives, from the weather to the food on our plates to the stability of our climate. Marine ecosystems are powerful, beautiful, and fragile. When we protect them, we're also protecting ourselves. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope this helped you better understand marine aquatic systems and why it's so important to take care of our oceans.